James Fernandez-Reyes is the 16-year-old currently in custody for the murder of the 8, 9, and 19-year-old out of Lebanon County. Just moments ago, we've been following this closely. We saw police carry a young child out. They ran that child down the street to an ambulance. The child appearing to be around 2 or 3 years old, wearing solely a diaper. Just around 4:30 today, the Senate passed that budget over to the House under House Bill 611. So I did play Division I lacrosse. I am going to be testing my 40-yard dash, but I don't think it's going to be as good as it was a few years ago. We have the timer over there. Let's see how it goes. Ready? In your opinion, how critical is it that the State Inspector General has access to these protected records?
They certainly should have access to it.
Earlier this evening, the Fisher family was right here where I'm standing, piecing through the rubble of what was once their family business. So let's take a look right here at some of the numbers in central Pennsylvania. In Cumberland County, you see right here, they're fully staffed with 53 caseworkers. I mean, how exciting to be headed into a 4-0 start to the season and a shutout in the whiteout game. I mean, you can't get better. This week, I sat down for an exclusive interview with that baby girl's grandmother. Do you feel the system failed your granddaughter?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
New Year's Eve was like 20 minutes ago, and now we're talking about April Fools. Is this a joke? I don't know. After looking into the status of the Office of the State Inspector General's investigation into statewide failures in Grace Packer's case, I began asking questions as to what would need to change in order to move that investigation forward. I was told by the IG's office that Pennsylvania state law would need to change in order for them to access protected records under the Child Protective Services law. So I began asking questions as to how important it was for state law to change in order for that investigation to be completed. Representative Donna Bullock is the majority chair of the Children and Youth House Committee. I reached out to her office to ask how important is it for the IG to be able to complete their investigation into Grace's case. At first, I was told by her office I had put that investigation onto her radar. A week later, I requested an interview asking for her answer on if state law needs to change. I was told by her staff the representative has no comment. Republican Representative Craig Stott said they should take another look at the law. In your opinion, how critical is it that the State Inspector General has access to these protected records?
They certainly should have access to it so they can do their job, no doubt about that.
Stotts currently has a bill sitting in the Children and Youth Committee which would put a deadline on bringing about a brand new child welfare information system, but it's been sitting in committee since March. But this isn't the first time the Project PA team has asked about a bill sitting in the Children and Youth Committee. Back in October, we asked Bullock about House Bill 813, which would give the child advocate the ability to access records and documents and investigate complaints into the child welfare system. That bill has been sitting in committee since April.
We're still looking at it, so we haven't decided yet.
So I looked into what the Children and Youth Committee has done so far this year. According to the state website, they've met 12 times since March. 28 bills have been taken up by the committee, but only 8 of them have been voted out. In addition, 8 simple resolutions have been taken up and 7 of those have made it out. To compare to other committees, the Aging and Older Adult Services Committee has met 7 times and moved 8 out of 11 bills or resolutions out of committee. And the Human Services Committee has met 12 times and moved 20 out of 82 bills or resolutions out of committee. So overall, the Children and Youth Committee falls middle of the road in comparison. I asked Bullock's office if she would comment on what the committee has done so far this session. I was told by her staff she had no comment. I called the committee's minority chair, Representative Barry Joswiak's office, to see what he feels about the IG investigation being stalled, as well as what he thinks about what the Children and Youth Committee has been able to accomplish so far this session. I haven't heard back from him, but I will be continuing to ask questions as to what that committee is doing to better protect children across Pennsylvania. In the state capitol, Elise Person, CBS 21 News.
I'm currently on a list. They told me it could take 6 to 8 months.
Tiana Marge has borderline personality disorder.
If I could get in somewhere, that would definitely take some of the overwhelm that I feel on a daily basis away.
She spent a year in prison after turning to drugs in an attempt to self-medicate because of her struggles to connect with mental health services.
I struggle very difficultly with emotions. A lot of times my emotions are way more extreme than what the average person's emotions are. So when I feel sadness, sometimes for me, sadness feels like I want to die.
But Tiana's not alone in this.
I was on waitlists for years trying to get mental health services. It was through the addiction that I ended up incarcerated.
A 2017 study shows in Pennsylvania state prisons, approximately 25% of inmates have been diagnosed with a serious mental illness. Dr. Kathy Quick with the PA Mental Health Consumers Association says those numbers have gone up in recent years, and she says it's affecting rural and urban counties.
Both of them kind of quoted in the about 70% range of individuals who either A, have a mental illness, or B, at least are on some kind of psychotropic medication, which is a mental health medication.
Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Pennsylvania worked towards deinstitutionalization, meaning those who were mentally ill would no longer be put in facilities and could live on their own. According to a 1987 report on the mental health system and laws of Pennsylvania, the patient population in state hospitals from 1986 to 1987 was just over 7,800. According to data from DHS, the average patient population in state hospitals in 2021 was just over 1,300. But the question remains, has Pennsylvania been able to keep up with the needs of those with mental health diagnoses?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that they've done a good enough job trying to keep up. We have like 90 residential slots, and we have a wait list of more than that. So we have a wait list of about 100.
You reach out and ask for help, which is what everybody tells us to do, just reach out and ask. And then you're told, well, we don't have any openings and we can't get you in for 3 months or 6 months or a year.
That's when bad things happen in the community, because people go for too long with unmet needs.
You can't get arrested for having mental health conditions, but experts say those unmet needs can lead to future issues.
Unfortunately, a lot of folks will unravel to the point where they end up doing something criminal.
People maybe get loud and maybe get more aggressive, especially when their needs aren't getting met.
So how does Pennsylvania fix the system? Well, some counties are partnering with law enforcement and the prison systems.
Back in 2018, we convened our first CIT training, Crisis Intervention Team. Basically, it's a strategy to be able to help our law enforcement professionals gain a stronger understanding of what people who experience mental illness may experience.
Quick says we have to turn away from only using trained clinicians and utilize peer specialists, allowing those who have been incarcerated with mental health diagnoses to work with those on waiting lists.
Support from a recovery specialist or peer specialist, I think the combination would have kept me out of some trouble.
If I had a peer support specialist, that would have probably changed the trajectory.
And if you're someone who's been incarcerated and also has a mental health condition, there's actually paid positions in counties across Pennsylvania as a peer specialist. Now, again, you have to have been incarcerated and diagnosed with a mental health condition, but you can learn more about those paid positions on our website. In Cumberland County, Elise Person, CBS 21 News.
We've got to see her quite a bit. There was times I'd babysit her, keep her overnight, and she was just a blast. She was a sweet little baby.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What was Iris like? I mean, she had those gorgeous blue eyes.
They were piercing blue. They definitely were, and they caught everybody's attention. She liked new things. She was just always happy when she was with us. She was happy, bubbly.
Shirley Stremmel's granddaughter, Iris Mummert, was killed in May 2020 by her biological mother, Felicia Ellis. Last week, 3 Adams County children and youth employees were charged with felony child endangerment after a grand jury investigation into their handling of Iris's custody. Shirley's son, Cody Mummert, was Iris's father. Walk me through what that's been like for your family for this to all be coming out right now.
It's been rough for us all. It honestly has. We're glad someone finally stepped up for us and to, give her some justice. It's been a rough 3 years, and finally someone wasn't afraid, to help.
Iris and her older sister were taken into CYS custody after Iris was born with a number of drugs in her system. After a year of living with a foster family, the girls were placed back into the home of their biological mother, despite documented concerns from multiple service providers. I want to get a little bit into the experience with the caseworkers. How do you feel they handled your granddaughter's case?
They don't look into people hard enough is the issue. So I really just wish, because they knew she had anxiety issues. They seen it, when they met her. So why put them back into someone is not capable or stable?
In a review of Iris's case after her death done by the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services, Adams County CYS was issued a citation saying services to support the safety of Iris and her older sister were not established by CYS before the children returned to their mother's care. Do you feel the system failed your granddaughter?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They failed my granddaughter, our family, all of us. They're failing other children too, and it needs to stop. It really does.
Walk me through how these charges coming down has brought some justice to your granddaughter.
It's not going to bring her back, but the people that should be charged are going to be charged. And hopefully that is what happens.
The body of a 2-year-old girl being found in the Delaware River last evening. That girl now being identified as Maddie Shields. Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Elise Person. Now, this discovery comes nearly a week after flash floods hit Bucks County, killing 5 people. 2 children, including that 2-year-old girl found yesterday, and a 9-month-old boy were swept away in those floods, prompting a countywide search. Shields' family confirmed to CBS News Philadelphia the body discovered was Maddie's. Sadly, that child was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Search efforts for the 9-month-old boy, they're still ongoing. And now, unfortunately, that family wasn't the only one mourning after those floods. Several community members in Upper Makefield gathered for a vigil to honor those 5 victims who lost their lives. CBS News correspondent Elise Roberts reports. And staying near Philadelphia, the victim in a deadly SEPTA bus crash yesterday has been identified. Police confirmed the victim to be 72-year-old Sunam Nak. The crash happened just after 12 p.m., only a few miles from the victim's home. At least 13 others were injured in that crash, one of them still in critical condition. Now, the scene proved to be frightening for those on both buses, with several witnesses watching the crash and the aftermath. And there's still no word on what caused the collision. Both SEPTA and Philadelphia police say this is an ongoing investigation. And bringing it back home here to Central PA, Harrisburg police are investigating a homicide that left one woman dead after being shot in the area of South 16th and Chestnut Streets. According to police, the shooting happened around 1 a.m. this morning, and the victim died while on the way to the hospital. And neighbors put together a vigil and released some balloons earlier this evening in the victim's honor. And now the victim's mother-in-law is calling on the community to end gun violence. Moving over to York County, officials from the Dover Township Fire Department were on the scene of a car crash on Carlisle Road this afternoon. These images you see here on your screen, they were posted to the department's Facebook page, and officials confirmed there were multiple people injured in the wreck. At least one lane of traffic was closed near the scene earlier today, with that investigation still ongoing as well. Now, another effort to help those affected by the Broad Street fire, the Susquehanna Art Museum, they're holding a silent auction to benefit the vendors. And this week on Face the State, we're also taking a closer look at how the state is helping the Broad Street market recover. That was Representative Patty Kim you just heard from, and join us tomorrow morning on Face the State, where we'll be talking with her and House Minority Leader Brian Cutler, why they both say the governor needs to get more involved with the budget. Well, that again is tomorrow morning at 8:30 on CBS 21. Now, with writers and actors going on strike, UPS workers could soon be joining them. The rally being held in Georgia and what those workers are demanding.